Tennessee, Georgia. Do you remember what happened to the Dogs last week? Well, same problem, different colored uniforms. That Tennessee defensive front is absolutely ferocious, and they get more pressure than Ole Miss does. Got to give Carson Beck some time. Got to protect him. And then this Tennessee team is a running team, and that's what Georgia does. Less than a yard before first contact. Will they be able to force Nico Iamaleava to beat them down the field? And Nico should be able to go tonight. So you have the top 4 teams in the country. The college football playoff rankings on the road gets middling opponents. We've already had 4 teams lose in such situations this year. Didn't have a single time that happened last year. Teams are, for lack of a better way to put it, they're getting got every week. So how do you handle a team like that?
Well, first of all, at this point in the season, when I was coaching a team, I was concerned about, do we have show dogs on the team or do we have hunting dogs? Hunting dogs are focused on discipline, commitment, accountability, doing the right things, getting better. But when you got show dogs, they're worried about how many passes did I catch, what's my playing time. So what the psychological disposition is of your team at this point in the season, that they can stay focused and do the things they need to do to continue to improve and play at a high level and play to a standard together as a group, is the most important thing.
I think so too, Coach. And you need the bay dogs to set up the hunting dogs, and that's when they come together. You need the show dogs to go ahead and stay home. Now, the Georgia Bulldogs obviously have another massive game, which is obviously strength of schedule. But whenever you talk about these teams that are ranked high, taking on teams that don't really have much going for them this season, there's always one thing. What did the great Coach Lou Holtz used to say?
Well, I wish Ty Schmidt were here to really make it real. But he said that in November, only 2 kinds of teams. You're trying to win something, or you're trying to ruin something.
I thought you were going to do the voice.
Yeah, I thought you were
not with Ty around.
Oh, okay.
No, Ty's at home, obviously. Coach Lou Holtz will appreciate that as well. But as a player, whenever your season doesn't go great, if you can ruin somebody's season, especially a rival, or you can go into the offseason with a little bit of an uptick, I mean, that's a lot of motivation. So whenever you're one of these high teams taking on one of these middle teams, there's a lot more motivation than people could even imagine from the middle teams. And that's all offseason and forward-thinking stuff.
Yeah, you're talking about a high team. You just get a tape on Oregon. So Oregon traveling to Wisconsin. Night game, about 45 degrees, wind maybe 15 miles per hour. I think that Oregon better be careful, because you can get into a situation where you look at Wisconsin, you look at the tape, lost their last 2 games, lost to Penn State and Iowa, 42-10. You're looking at that film, talking about, this team's not that good. You go up there to Camp Randall, they start to get some success. Wisconsin, they start to get some confidence. Next thing you know, you're in the dogfight. So they better be careful how they approach this game mentally.
That's a good point. I was amazed yesterday. We're sitting in the College GameDay meeting. We're talking about scenarios with just 3 weeks left, that we could get to an 8-team, because we don't have divisions in the SEC. 8 teams could tie for the top of the SEC. Here we are in Athens, a team that we just expect to win every game by 30 points. And they're on the outside of the rankings this week at 13.
Oh.
It's just, I think it's a reflection of really where we are in the 2024 season. And what's exciting about Georgia to me, and they have 3 weeks to go. Right now, they're on the outside. They're coming off a loss. We all know what happens to Georgia when they get backed into a corner. You know what kind of intensity they're going to play with, especially at home. They have Tennessee, UMass, and Georgia Tech. They could go from being on the outside of the rankings to hosting a playoff game in 3 weeks. I mean, things could turn that fast. So we'll see what happens tonight.
I want to talk about Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Georgia's specialists will have a lot to do with the outcome of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Their punter is Brett Thornton.
Yeah.
He averages a 44-yard kick. He's nationally ranked.
Love that.
Place kicker is Peyton Woodring.
Okay.
He leads the team in scoring. It's an important game. But this is one stat I want you to remember this one. The last 8 times Georgia lost a game, they won the next game.
Absolutely. Told you, Dennis.
I say nothing. Go Tennessee. They got problems.
He gave him a kick in right there.
He did. How about my man bringing up the specialist?
I talked to Coach,
I like that.
I talked to Coach Smart yesterday, and he said that's going to be an important part of this, especially with the way they're going to have to go about winning. You know, with Carson Beck and this offensive line, they're going to have to shorten the game, like Coach Saban says. They're going to have to run. They're going to have to win field position. Special teams is a massive part of every game, this one more specifically.
But Georgia knows how to win playing that way. You know, run the ball, shrink the game, play good defense, and I think they can play good defense against Tennessee. They played well against Tennessee, you know, in each of the last 2 or 3 meetings they've had with them.
They're going to have to find a way to run the ball.
I was about to say,
Yes,
that run the
yes.
ball may not be
60 yards a game or something
Now,
like
they haven't
that.
tried it much.
I want to repeat this.
Go ahead.
The last 8 times Georgia lost a game,
Yes.
it has won the next game.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just a little.
He's just saying. Just letting you know.
How much